Hello everybody, welcome from a new camera. It has been an embarrassingly long amount of time since I worked on this. It is December 7th at 11:55 p.m. I have just a few hours, maybe just 2 that I'll be able to work on this tonight. I don't know when I will get back to working on this corset project. I thought it would be done by now. But yeah. Anyway, so what I've got to do next on this, I've got the sides pretty much done. The busk is not in, and the waist tape is not in, the boning channels are not in, and the back part is not in. So what I'm going to work on tonight is making up the boning channels and hopefully maybe getting them set in, and at the same time doing the waist tape, and then the next step will be putting in the busk and the lacing holes. So, or lacing strip, whatever it's called. But yeah, I'm very stoked about this particular project. I just wish that I would be able to work on it more, but 'tis the holiday season, which means that I'm working on everyone else's things and not my own. But, yeah. So, anyway, I better get to sewing. I don't have that much time. Talk to you guys soon. Okay, so before I get actually started, I wanted to show you guys some of what I'm proud of with this project. I'm not a machine sewist, so there's a lot of stuff that I'm afraid to do on machine, but I'm really happy at the precision that I had managed to get by eyeballing it. I actually just bought a one of those armed feet that kind of keep you within the groove, but when I did this I didn't have that foot. So even though, you know, here it's a little bit wonky, I'm still pretty impressed at my own abilities in the middle of the night that I was able to get this pretty spot on. I mean, from a distance you can't really tell. But now this has been sitting kind of in a corner for a bit, so I need to iron this out. But look at this hip spring, guys. Look at this. Look how crazy that is. That's so much fun. I cannot wait to wear this thing. It's gonna be so cool. Okay, so it's 12:39, and I don't know why it's taken this long. Oh wait, yes I do. One of the kids decided that she was going to take a long time to get put back to bed, so when she woke up it took a while, and now I'm back. So anyway, my very unscientific method of figuring out the length of boning channels is that once this is done, since this is another mock-up, I decided that I would actually just look at the original, which I've got the file on my computer, and I would look at that and base those marks off of that particular document. So I marked at the top here kind of where those the first edge of the boning will be, and then I measured them with my straight thing, a straight ruler. I need to remember terms of things, but anyway, used my ruler, measured them, and now I have my lengths. So I'm gonna do these like the original where they were double channels, and I'm gonna use this whalebone stuff. I've got a big old coil of it. I'll put a link in the description on where you can get this, but yeah, so now I just gotta cut that out, and I don't know if I'll be able to sew it tonight at this point. Exciting things. It is about 1:30 the next day, so I managed to go to bed, and I this evening decided to go ahead and put in the channels and kind of finish most of this up. Next I need to do the lacing, and I've got these guys cut, but the edges, let's see, there we go. The edges need kind of filed down, so that'll be the next thing. But I'm really super excited. It looks way better than I thought it was going to, but I am really nervous because this part is laying perfectly flat on the surface. I'm just a little afraid. I'm afraid that something weird is going to go on here when I put it on, but we'll see. So I don't know why that zoomed in. Okay, back to work. Lovely lighting we've got here. That being said, it's really nice for my ironing station because it's right overhead and I can see everything. But anyway, you can also hear my kids tramping around upstairs. Great. Husband is watching them, thankfully, so I can try and get this corset done. But I'm working on eyelets, so I got a lot done last night. I finished all of the boning channels, and now I'm working on the eyelets themselves, and then I'll be putting in the boning and have a first try on. Super exciting. However, I'm not happy with the fact that almost every single one of my grommets, see if it'll focus there, have split. I don't know if it's the grommets themselves or if I'm putting too much pressure on them. I've tried varying amounts of pressure, varying speeds of putting in my grommets, but I'll show you what I'm doing, and maybe some of you can chime in and tell me what I need to do differently. Okay, just to show you guys kind of what I'm doing, I've got the marks on the back here, so I don't mark the front, which I guess doesn't matter, but I didn't want to mark up the front just in case I mess something up. So I'm using my not very tapered awl, which I've got tons and tons of tools. I don't know why I don't have a real tapered awl. Whatever. But anyway, so I do that, pierce my hole, and then I use, for a tapered awl, a broken lightsaber chopstick that I used to use in my hair when I would do fun Star Warsy things. And anyway, so I don't really like actually cutting the fabric or like piercing it with a hole punch type of thing. I know other people that do. I just have found that they always come out. The grommets end up coming out later. So once it looks like this, what I'm doing to make this guy not crap itself is trimming all this extra like gunk off and then widening it just a little bit. Sorry, I'm not staying in frame. This is hard. Okay. But I've noticed that the more flyaways that this has, the more my grommet press is like wants to kill me. So once it seems like it's like pretty clear, this one is, okay, so once I can see a clear hole through it, that's when I go with this puppy. So I'll move you guys closer. So here's the washers. I don't know if you can tell anything from them. Can you see it? Maybe, maybe not. Not focusing, whatever. Put it with the inner lip going up. I think that's how it's supposed to go. That one didn't go through. Of course, the one that I filmed didn't work very well. And lovely. And that's what it looks like. I hate grommet presses. So right now I'm filing boning channels, which I have had a casualty already. Is it gonna? There we go. Yep. It's not blood at all because I just keep rubbing it off, but still not great. What I'm using to file my boning is one of these wood files. My husband had one, and then I went and bought myself one because it worked pretty well. You just have to know that your fingers and your fingernails will suffer. So if you're able to get the red threaded Dremel tool bit that's specifically for doing these, do it. You will save your fingers. I hate this process. Putting in boning for any sort of corset or pair of stays is really annoying. I've got more than halfway done, but a couple of them, my channels I eyeballed and they're too narrow, so I cut the synthetic whalebone, which is what I'm using, to size, but still some of them do not want to go. So I left one of the synthetic whalebones long. I'm going to wait until my hands recover a little bit, and then I will try and push that one the rest of the way through or chop it down. We'll see. I just don't want to fiddle with it anymore. But yeah, so this is what I get to hear for the next 20 minutes. Wonderful. Okay, so this is a tip for when you're putting in your boning. What I like to do is have it curved toward the body. So when you get your synthetic whalebone, it's been on the coil, so it's got this where am I at? This lovely curve to it. What I try to do is have it this way because that's easier to bend back and also have the top and bottom curve back on you a little bit, which I think is preferable. So when I insert it, I keep my hand flat and keep this flat on here. Insert it in the channel. And then with my hand flat, which it's hard to see, basically I put it in like this. If your stays don't want to go up a little bit, because that will definitely aid in letting it just kind of glide through, you can put something underneath this part that needs to go up a little bit, and I've found that it helps a lot. The other thing that I do is when you get into the very end or a tight spot, I use something hard, which this is just a lid, and on this part that's still, this part here, where are you? On this part here that's still sticking out, I just kind of hold this puppy like this, and then I attempt to push it through. So sometimes I have to hold it closer to my body, but you can see it's already in a little bit more. But yeah, so continue. So it is time for the preliminary, or I guess not the preliminary. I took a preliminary try on earlier because I've got all of the pieces put together on this. Well, except for the binding. So I am right now checking where all of the boning hits to make sure that it's actually where I want it, or if there are boning adjustments that need to be made before I bind it and seal this puppy up. So I'm really happy so far, at least with the prelim trial. And yeah, so I figure I'll just hop to it and let you guys see what's going on. So from the back, I have my Scotty bustle pad on, and I like to have it below my waistline because that extra kick at the back really needs to happen below your waistline. You want it to have a nice like swoop in there. So I've pulled my chemise down, so hopefully we won't have a whole lot of spillage of fabric. But yeah, this corset is a little bit too small for me currently, but I'm gonna wear it for about a week after I do all this, and hopefully it'll stretch out. But that is why there's a huge gap. It's huge. Usually my corsets don't have this much of a gap, so I think that my mock-up fabric must have stretched a lot more than I expected. So anyway, I'm going to adjust this really quickly so you guys can see the whole cinching in. Hello everybody. So this is where we're at. This is tight-laced, mind you, for the size that I am right now, but, and you can see the top, there's plenty of room, but at the bottom there's not so much. What's funny though is that these gussets still have room for padding. So, all in all, it's a really good shape. It's pretty comfortable because I made it for me and I knew kind of what pressure points I needed to hit. I don't have like squeezed back fat here, which is important. Could probably pull that down some so the fabric doesn't poof, but yeah, overall I'm very happy with it. You can see here that where the boning ends and it's just the fabric itself, how my bust is wanting to spill out again. That's because it probably could use some more room in the actual bust gussets. And if I wanted it to be a little bit lower, I probably could handle that. But all in all, it's pretty good. I'm definitely going to need some padding to get rid of a little bit of these wrinkles. Some of these wrinkles I can't get rid of just because it's how the grain of the fabric works. But I'm pretty happy with it. I don't have full square hips. They're somewhat gradual. And yeah, so hopefully tonight maybe I'll try and finish the piping and then the sucker will be done. Okay everybody, so I've worn this around for about an hour now and it still feels pretty good. I'm feeling the same like tension and stuff in the same places, but I did tight lace immediately and I had a whole cheeseburger meal, well, a hamburger meal because I don't like cheeseburgers, but right before I put this on. So anyway, I wanted to update you guys with my measurements here. So right now I'm at 27.5. My normal is 31, so that's a pretty good reduction. There's room enough for 3.5 in the back, which won't happen unless tight lacing ends up being a miracle, which probably won't happen anytime soon at least. But bust wise, it really didn't change anything in the bust. I will say though that I am not completely happy with the profile because even though this is actually, it's not too tight, technically it kind of fits. And it comes together more in the top than it does anywhere else. Even with that let out, it still brings my bust up a little bit too high for my liking. So I'm going to put on a corset that I made for 1908. I'm going to compare where the bust line is and see if maybe I can alter this based on that. Or maybe like the next one I can make based on that. I'm back. I can't leave well enough alone, so I decided to try on my corset cover, which is based off of an original that I saw, an antique that I saw on Instagram. But anyway, this is the answer. So I think what I'm going to do, this gives me a much more gradual line than the other one. So I think what I'm going to do is actually take this pattern and alter it where the bust line is a little bit lower. That way we don't have any of this kind of sticky outiness, muffin top type of thing, and also make the sides, which you can kind of see here, up a little bit higher to smooth it. So I think I'm going to just make this a much more gradual kind of swoopy downy thing, to get that very like pigeon low bust look, without the other corset, which is so sad. I'm very sad, and I don't know if I want to alter that particular one, because it fits well in other regards. So I could take out the boning and just kind of cut it down, but it doesn't come up quite high enough anyway, so I almost feel like I should just make a new one and base it off of this, because I like this look a lot better than that one, though I think that the hip spring of that one is better. I think that for me, because my hips are so much larger, if I want a more Edwardian fashion plate look, my hips should actually be smaller, and more slimmed, than kind of jutty outy. Now the back needs to be jutty outy, but this slightly smoother line I think would actually work better with the size of my shoulders, rather than having everything kind of like though that hip spring for me would probably be really good for 1880s and stuff. But yeah, so stuff to think about. Definitely puts me back kind of significantly. But I suppose I could use this as a base and just know that I'll probably take things in. But yeah. My waist in this one is 28. So I'll probably try and make it a little bit smaller, which I could probably still do because there's about an inch here. But yeah, so better finish that corset still. That needs to happen.